My name is Daniel, and I'm writing this from a hotel room at 4:47 a.m. because I can't go back to what was supposed to be my home. Not after what I heard. Not after what I know. 3 days ago, I was supposed to fly to Chicago for a major client presentation. I'd been preparing for weeks. This deal would either make my architectural firm a major player or keep us struggling for another year. My wife, Sarah, drove me to the airport, kissed me goodbye, and wished me luck. Her sister, Jessica, was in the back seat, having shown up that morning just to see you off. I should have known something was wrong when Sarah seemed nervous during the drive. She kept adjusting the radio, checking her phone at red lights, and laughing too hard at Jessica's unfunny jokes. But I was focused on my presentation, running through slides in my head, barely present in the conversation. At the airport, I grabbed my luggage and headed inside. Made it all the way to security before I realized I'd left my laptop charger in the car. My entire presentation was on that laptop. Without the charger, I'd be dead in the water by the afternoon meeting. I tried calling Sarah, but it went straight to voicemail. She was probably already driving. I had two choices: buy an overpriced charger at the airport tech store and hope it was compatible, or grab a taxi home and get mine. The house was only 20 minutes away. I'd still make my flight if I hurried. The taxi ride back felt like a sign. The driver took a shortcut I'd never seen before, shaving 5 minutes off the trip. When we pulled up to my house, Sarah's car was in the driveway, along with a U-Haul truck I didn't recognize. That's when the first alarm bell went off. I paid the driver and stood on my own lawn, luggage in hand, staring at that truck. Through the front window, I could see movement. Boxes. Furniture I didn't recognize. Jessica directing someone, a man I'd never seen before, where to put things. My key slid into the lock, but it wouldn't turn. I tried again. Nothing. The lock had been changed. I stood there for a full minute, key in hand, trying to process what was happening. Then, quietly, I walked around to the back of the house. The sliding door was open, voices drifting out. Sarah's laugh, high and nervous. Jessica's voice, authoritative and clear. The bedroom furniture goes upstairs. Marcus likes the left side of the bed, so put his nightstand there. Marcus. A man's name. A man's furniture. In my house. My mind raced through options. Confront them? Call the police? Demand answers? But something, call it instinct or maybe just shock, made me think clearer. I needed to understand what was happening before I acted. That's when I remembered the basement. When Sarah and I bought the house 5 years ago, the basement was unfinished. I'd spent 6 months converting it into a home office and workshop, complete with a small bathroom and mini-fridge for long project nights. Most importantly, I'd installed a separate entrance during renovations, a steel door hidden behind the garden shed that connected to the basement stairs. Sarah hated going down there, said it was too cave-like. She probably forgot the entrance existed. I circled back through the neighbor's yard, grateful for the tall hedges that blocked the view. My hands shook as I found the hidden key under the fake rock, the one I'd placed there years ago and never mentioned to anyone. The door opened silently, and I slipped inside. The basement was exactly as I'd left it 3 days ago. Design blueprints covered my drafting table. Coffee mug still half full on the desk. Normal. Peaceful. While above me, strangers moved furniture into my house. I set my luggage in the corner and crept up the basement stairs, pressing my ear to the door. Muffled voices, footsteps, the sound of boxes being opened. Then, clear as day, Sarah's voice. I can't believe we're actually doing this. You deserve to be happy, Jessica replied. David was suffocating you. Always working, never present. Marcus adores you. But what if Daniel finds out? What if he comes back early? He won't. You checked his itinerary. He's in meetings until Thursday, and his return flight isn't until Friday afternoon. By then, the divorce papers will be filed, and he'll have to accept reality. The house is in your name anyway, remember? My blood ran cold. The house was in both our names. We'd signed the papers together, celebrated with champagne. But Jessica continued. The lawyer said possession is 9/10 of the law. If Marcus is living here when Daniel returns, and you've changed the locks, it strengthens your position. Especially with the evidence we discussed. I still feel guilty about that, Sarah said quietly. Don't. The photos are just insurance. Nobody needs to know they're edited. If Daniel fights the divorce, we leak them. He'll give you everything to keep his reputation intact. I pulled out my phone and started recording, holding it close to the door crack. Whatever they were planning, I needed proof. For the next 4 hours, I sat in my own basement like a fugitive, listening to my life being dismantled above me. Marcus, I learned, was Jessica's boyfriend's brother. He was moving in to support Sarah during this difficult transition. They'd been planning this for months, waiting for the right moment when I'd be gone long enough to execute their plan. The fabricated evidence Jessica mentioned? Apparently, they'd created compromising photos suggesting I was having an affair. Screenshots of fake text conversations. Even a staged photo of me entering a hotel with another woman, likely taken during one of my business trips and manipulated to look incriminating. But the worst part came around 8 p.m., when they opened a bottle of wine to celebrate. Sarah's words slurred slightly as she confessed. You know what the funny thing is? Daniel's actually a good husband. Faithful, providing, caring. But good doesn't mean exciting. Marcus makes me feel alive. You're trading up, Jessica assured her. Daniel's so boring he probably schedules his orgasms. Marcus is spontaneous, passionate. And broke, Sarah giggled. But that's what the house is for. Once we sell it, we'll have enough to start fresh. Just stick to the plan, Jessica said. When Daniel comes back to change locks and divorce papers, he'll be too shocked to fight. Men like him avoid confrontation. He'll probably just accept whatever settlement we offer. That's when I called my lawyer, Gregory Walsh. It was past midnight his time, but Gregory was a friend from college who'd built his practice on being available 24/7 for emergencies. This qualified. I whispered the situation, sent him the recordings I'd made. His response was immediate. Don't confront them. Document everything. I'll have a team there at 9 a.m. sharp. Trust me, Daniel. We're going to handle this by the book. I spent that night in my own basement, sleeping fitfully on the old couch I'd relegated there during our last remodel. Every footstep above made me tense. Around 3 a.m., I heard sounds I won't describe in detail, but let's just say Marcus was definitely making himself at home in my bed. By 6 a.m., I documented everything I could. Photos of the changed locks. Screenshots of Sarah's social media, already scrubbed of most photos of us together. Videos of Marcus's belongings throughout MY House. The U-Haul rental agreement I found in the trash, paid for with Sarah's credit card, but dated a week ago, proving premeditation. At 8:45 a.m., I slipped out the way I'd come in, leaving my luggage but taking all my evidence. I met Gregory and his team at a coffee shop 2 blocks away. With me were a locksmith, a process server, and 2 off-duty police officers Gregory had hired as witnesses. Here's what's going to happen, Gregory explained. The house is jointly owned. She can't legally change the locks without your consent. We're going to walk up to that door, and when they refuse to let you in, we document it. Then the locksmith changes the locks back. If they resist, the officers step in. Clean, legal, by the book. At exactly 9 a.m., I knocked on my own front door. Sarah answered in a robe I'd bought her for our anniversary. Her face went white. Daniel? What are you? You're supposed to be in Chicago. Flight was canceled, I lied smoothly. Imagine my surprise when my key didn't work. There was a security issue. I had to change them for safety. Without telling your husband? Gregory stepped into view. Mrs. Chun, I'm Gregory Walsh, Mr. Chen's attorney. We need to discuss your illegal eviction of my client from his legal residence. The next hour was chaos. Jessica came downstairs screaming about harassment. Marcus, wearing my robe, threatened to call the police, until he saw we'd brought our own. Sarah cried, begged, tried to explain it was all a misunderstanding. Gregory was surgical in his precision. He presented the evidence of premeditation, the proof that the house was jointly owned, the recordings of their conspiracy to commit fraud with falsified evidence. By the time he was done, Sarah was sobbing on Jessica, and Marcus was quietly packing his things back into the U-Haul. Here's what's going to happen, Gregory announced. Mr. Chun is graciously giving you 48 hours to vacate the premises. In exchange, you'll sign this agreement dropping any claim to the house and waiving all rights to marital assets beyond your personal belongings. Refuse, and we file charges for conspiracy to commit fraud, breaking and entering, and theft. The recordings Mr. Chun made are particularly damning. You recorded us? Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. In our own home? My home, I corrected. Where I was hiding in my own basement while you plotted to steal it. Jessica tried one last manipulation. You can't prove those recordings are real. It's your word against ours. I pulled out my phone and played a clip. Jessica's voice, clear as day, discussing the fabricated affair evidence. Her face went pale. Within an hour, they'd signed everything Gregory put in front of them. The movers, the same ones who'd brought Marcus's things in, began loading them back onto the truck. Sarah packed 2 suitcases, her movements mechanical, defeated. As she walked past me one last time, she stopped. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I wanted more." "You had everything," I replied. "You just didn't want it." The locksmith changed the locks again. This time, only I got keys. By noon, my house was empty except for me. The silence was deafening. That was 3 days ago. I never made it to Chicago. Lost the client, lost the deal. But I kept my house, my assets, and most importantly, my dignity. The divorce will be finalized in 60 days. Uncontested, clean, surgical. I'm in this hotel because I can't sleep in that house yet. Every room has a memory. Every corner a reminder of the life I thought I had. My lawyer says it's normal, that it'll pass. That I should focus on the fact that I discovered the truth before they could execute their full plan. But at 4:47 a.m., staring at the ceiling of a hotel room, all I can think about is how I spent a night hiding in my own basement while my wife gave away our life to strangers. How the person I trusted most conspired against me with such casual cruelty. How they laughed about my boring stability while planning to steal everything that boring reliability had built. Tomorrow, I'll go back to work. Rebuild. Move forward. Maybe even laugh about the absurdity of it all. The husband in the basement, like some twisted sitcom. But tonight, I'm just a man in a hotel room, grateful for a hidden door, a smart lawyer, and the instinct that made me turn around at the airport. Because if I'd gotten on that plane, I'd have come home to changed locks, false accusations, and a life destroyed by the person who promised to cherish it. The truth really does set you free. Even if you have to find it from your